What's going on, everyone? Can everyone hear me all okay? Drop me a W in the chat if you can hear me. I'm just gonna send a tweet out. Mic check, mic check. Can everyone hear me all okay? Just double checking I'm on. Sorry, shouldn't have this screen up. Hello, mic check. Can someone drop me a W in the chat? I'm just gonna retweet it. Alright, cool. People can see me. Cool. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining. We got a big interview today. Obviously, our biggest guest yet. We've got Jackson Hinkle joining us. We're just gonna try and add him to the call now. So give me 1 second. Just loading up now, guys. Give me 1 sec. Oh, yo, what's going on, Jackson? Can you see me?
Yo.
1 second.
Can't see you.
Let me just try and adjust this camera. Sorry about this, mate. 1 second.
What's good with my camera?
Yeah, it's just loading for me. I'm not sure.
See like the light. You see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you good.
You see the lines on my screen? Like, is that showing up for you?
A little bit, yeah. It's not really that bad though. Just have it on full screen. I don't know why my camera's playing up. My Discord app's not working, so I had to do it on the web, so I'm not sure if that's why. I can. Do you want to do it without you can? I can see you though, and you can see me on the stream, so it's up to you if you want to carry on and then.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you for joining. Oh wait, people are saying they can't hear me in the chat. Let me just. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks, bro. How you doing though? You good though, yeah?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Obviously, all this stuff in Syria is not, not ideal. But I mean, what can we do? I guess.
Well, it's just the start of the chaos.
Yeah, I think
it's just the tip of the iceberg.
I know, man. I think we can hear you now in the chat. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Jackson especially for joining us. Great to have you on. I appreciate obviously the support. Yeah, but obviously,
yes.
First of all,
sorry, I'm just retweeting and dropping a comment on it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, bro. Let me just.
There we go. Everyone tune in. Alright.
All done, yeah?
Perfect.
Right, everyone can hear us now. Good. Thank you for joining us, Jackson, of course. I don't know, it's annoying you can't see me, but obviously on the stream when you watch back, you'll be able to see me, so it's the best I can do. Sorry, bro. But, yeah, obviously, congratulations on your growth, first of all, man. Obviously, you got like 2.8 million followers now, is it, on X?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been, the people crave the truth. That's why you've grown. That's why I've grown. And CNN isn't bringing it to them. So that's why we're here.
100%, bro. Obviously, I'd say you're probably one of the biggest people on the, on X, speaking about what you do. I'll say some notable achievements that I've just witnessed, just watching you. I'm sure there's many more, but you obviously interviewed the leaders of Ansar Allah, gave them a platform to people that wouldn't normally be able to, hear their type of view. Obviously, the speech to the Houthis is American, the Westerner doesn't feel American, the Westerner doesn't feel the same way as our governments do. You met with Lavrov as well. You got the award. You got gifted the award from him. Interview with Maria Zakharova. Sorry, is that how you say her name? Zakharova. Yeah, obviously you exposed the Ukraine terror in Tokmak. launched the ACP, which has been, I've seen them doing like loads of good work rebuilding towns, work that our own governments don't even do. Things is you launch legit targets. I think they got like 50k followers in a week or something, was it? And then now they're just growing more and more every day. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever see yourself coming this far in this short of a time, or?
But when I started my show, it was just about I watched like a bunch of people that were talking about war and domestic politics in the U.S. and I guess British politics too. But just would watch a bunch of YouTubers, and I thought like, oh, I could do that. And I started my show just kind of like for fun. I was seriously interested about it and everything, and then it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And I think like us as young people, we just kind of recognize that like the previous generation that was like the ones that kind of opened social media and like into a political foray and stuff, they didn't understand that you could actually use social media as a tool in politics and stuff. Um, they more were just like talking about politics on it. The social media was an afterthought. I think what we understand is like, oh, this is the new town square. This is where the battles will be waged. And I think that's what has, I guess, proven to be exactly true now. That's why I think we've all grown so much, is because we've taken that approach.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously you're doing a great job, man. Keep it up. Obviously spreading the truth as well. You woke up millions of people, I'm sure, across the globe, especially the beginning of the Palestine stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for people like you, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't know what's going on, you know. So, but yeah, I'll say first thing I wanted to ask you though is, obviously, what's your thoughts on the current ongoing situation in Syria?
Well, as I was just saying, the situation in Syria is the chaos has just begun. And I said this on Twitter. I said that not free, it's just transferred ownership to Israel and Turkey. And now the events have proven to be 100% correct. Everyone like yourself, you came out and took a very bold position on the matter. Everyone who said like, yeah, this is a bad idea, Assad's not perfect, but to replace him and to support the opposition, which is literally, I mean, wait, where are we streaming this right now? I know on X, but anywhere else?
We're everywhere on Twitch and all that, but we don't care about them platforms. If we get nukes, we get nukes. You know, it's part of it. So yeah, far away.
You know, they have all these groups like AQ and stuff, and they're doing all this stuff, and it's like everyone knew exactly happened if you'd been following this conflict for years. And now we are seeing it. We're seeing they're slaughtering Alawites in Syria. They are doing horrific things to Christians in Syria. They are a lot of stuff that, frankly, it's exactly what the quote unquote moderate rebels have done for years and years and years in Syria and in Iraq under the official organization of Al Qaeda in Iraq and ISIS in Iraq. But anyways, then now also we also, everyone said, look, Assad falls, you're going to have the invasion of Syria from the southwest. And that's happening. Israel's invading, and they're, what, 10, 12, 15 miles from Damascus or something. And Turkey, of course, is moving in from the north. What I will say is the way in which Assad handled the fall of his country was rather disgraceful and dishonorable. And I think that, well, I can't say too much because I'm sitting here and I'm, you know, it's like kind of Monday morning quarterbacking, as we call it in America, when you try to critique someone in a position that is far different than your own and far more difficult than your own. But regardless of whether people think Assad should have gone down with his sinking ship, regardless of whether, you know, of the situation was salvageable in Syria, which I don't think it was. Criminality, corruption, dishonorable actions from high-level officials, bureaucratic agencies, just it was a complete mess from everyone that I've talked to. The least he should have done a statement to his people before leaving, and he didn't even do that, and it's very dishonorable.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree with you. And I was going to ask you as well, what do you think the future will look like for, Syria since the invasion of Al Qaeda and ISIS? But obviously today, I'm sure you've seen the videos of the mass executions taking place. So, I mean, it kind of gives us sort of a hint of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think Syria is going to be carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. I think that it's going to be completely balkanized. I think the country of Turkey is going to take a large swath in the north. I think Israel is going to take large swath in the south. Turkey has neo-Ottoman empire, visions which extend to Aleppo. Israel has their greater, Syria, greater Israel vision, messianic vision, which extends to Damascus. It'd be interesting to see how those two things clash. How does Neo-Ottoman Empire of Erdogan, who's got a huge head and he's a total backstabber, he's backstabbed everyone except for Netanyahu, how does he clash this goal against Israel's goal of a greater Israel? I don't know, and I don't know what's going to happen. Pray that I guess that it's complete chaos because really there's no good options. If it's complete chaos, it's not good for the people there. If it's complete balkanization, it's not good for the people there, and it's not good for the sovereign interests in the region, Iran being pretty much the last one. But regardless, the people are going to suffer. I would just hope that, Israel suffers a lot, the chaos, and gets absolutely clapped by Turkey. I think that's extremely wishful and naive thinking. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, man, it is honestly heartbreaking. I mean, that's what I was trying to say to someone the other day, that no matter what people's like thoughts of Assad, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but this is not the answer, letting Al Qaeda and ISIS forces sort of take over your country and do what they're doing. But do you think we'll ever see Assad?
I think that's the end. I mean, it's I try to even think about, because I'm in Moscow, I try to think about, like, what is he doing right now? He's just sitting in some dark room maybe and just ordering room service or something, or I don't know. Maybe I'll see him out on the street at a McDonald's or something. But no, I don't know what he's doing, and I definitely don't think he'll ever return to Syria. Look, the thing is, as everyone now understands, Assad literally was never supposed to be president. His older brother died in 1994. He got thrown back into politics, dynastic family. His father, Hafez, was cunning. His father was strategic. His father was incredible. Hafez al-Assad was brilliant. But, Bashar al-Assad was like an eye surgeon in London, 1990 to 1994. His brother dies, Basil, and he gets sent back to Syria. And I don't think you ever really wanted to be a president. I don't think you ever wanted that. And gave it one hell of a fight for years and years and years and years against all the biggest interests in the region and external to the region. And, they threw the most thinkable challenges his way, and he still stood strong. I guess if you have to look at what the legacy of Assad is, his legacy would be defending Syria, their sovereignty, and the relative sovereignty. He lost a lot of the country, actually. But also the religious minorities for years and years and years and years. Now, is defending religious minorities and defending most of your country after years of a dirty war and then falling and your entire country collapses, is that a legacy that anyone can argue should be revived and Assad returns or his people want him back? No one can argue that. No one will argue that. Syria is going to be balkanized, and they have moved beyond the Assads, and unfortunately Bashar al-Assad will be left with a rather humiliating legacy due to the way that things ended.
Yeah, it is honestly heartbreaking. I was gonna say, don't you find it funny though, how all the people that was cheering on Hezbollah and Iran when they was fighting for Palestine, and now the same people that have done a complete U-turn and they're sort of turning against Hezbollah and Iran for, what events are going on in Syria.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of this sectarianism that has kind of characterized the specifically the Arab nations, but also the Arab nations' attitude towards, specifically, I guess, the Sunni Arab nations' attitude towards Iran and the Persians. And I think that the Arab region had an opportunity to try and find a third way and try to find some sort of a political alternative that would put aside these sectarian differences and divisions on ethnic lines and religious lines. It didn't do that. Now, what do you have? You have Israel and you have Turkey coming in and stealing the show, which is horrible. The Arab project has essentially failed. So, with the young generation, the generation that has a whole lot of discontent with the current status quo, and a generation that is possibly open to more secular ideas, the Arab region could find that third way and this new approach that they need to take to save themselves and achieve true sovereignty. But honestly, the visions that you mentioned with the backstabbers who supported Iran and were posting great things about Hezbollah during the year plus in which the Gaza genocide was taking place prior to the operation then moving to Syria. Those people are extremely misinformed and propagandized. A lot of this has to do with Qatari media, Al Jazeera, who have a financial interest and a political interest, a security-based interest in actually supporting the jihadists against Bashar al-Assad, the former president. When during the early years of the dirty war in Syria, actually like the entirety of the dirty war in Syria, the United States had established rat lines from Libya, Turkey, and also Qatar was providing support. All these groups were providing support to Al Qaeda forces, Hayat al-Sham al-Nusra, Jaish al-Islam in Syria. Or you look at it and they have a bunch of U.S. military bases. It's like, okay, well, now you kind of understand why they were cucked into this position of supporting the jihadists, Bashar al-Assad. And Al Jazeera propagandized a whole lot of people about it. Al Jazeera does great work on Gaza, but terrible work on Syria. And I guess the last thing I'll say is a lot of people were also brainwashed about Syria because of the fact that Hamas and the Palestinian resistance forces, coalition, whatever, they made a political calculation years ago to side with the Muslim Brotherhood, which was a project of the UK, which was inherited by the US. And they chose to side with the Muslim Brotherhood over Iran. And strategically, I think it was probably the incorrect decision because Iran is the only sovereign power left standing in the Middle East. And Iran did a whole lot to support Gaza when no one else did. But because of this division, which the Palestinians sided with the Muslim Brotherhood back then, this MI6 project, it caused a lot of bad blood with Iran at the time. And obviously, people like Yahya Sinwar reconciled with Iran, with Bashar al-Assad, but some didn't. Some never did reconcile with Assad in Syria. So there's a lot of fracturing. I will say the Palestinian Forces Coalition, which includes Hamas, PFLP, DFL in Damascus, put forward a stunning endorsement of Bashar al-Assad against the invading terrorist assaulters when this was all beginning. Much quicker than I think any of us expected.
Yeah, 100%. And you was one of the guys that was, calling out Erdogan. You could see through him from the beginning. And it's funny how these people on X, all the comments, whatever, I don't know, they're sort of acting like Erdogan's some sort of hero. But where's he been, the whole time, the genocide? He talks a good game, yeah, but he hasn't really actually done anything for the Palestinians. And now he's, led a terrorist organization into Syria.
Yeah, I mean, Erdogan still supplies Israel with 40% of their oil from Azerbaijan. They still ship Israel weapons. Erdogan is a very, very snaky backstabber type of guy. Objectively, we all have to understand that, like, he has, from his point of view, achieved a lot of his goals. He's crafty and he's winning. Now, again, we'll see what happens with Israel in Syria versus Turkey if that becomes a versus type situation. A lot of people I spoke to said they don't think it'll become a confrontational situation, and they will agree to take whatever portions of Syria that they want, and that will be that. But Erdogan backstabbed Russia, backstabbed the resistance, and he now has he's gone on into Syria and done this. He initially claimed that Turkey had no involvement, and then a few days later said, by the way, we're taking Damascus, and it was us this entire time, which everyone knew that. And if anyone has any, I guess, false notions about who these people are in Syria that Turkey is supporting, you can listen to Turkish citizens themselves. They'll tell you firsthand who these people are. I mean, they are deranged, extremists, lunatics that are, wave the ISIS flag. They wave the black flag. And that's a part of the reason why Turkey did this, because Turkey has a whole ton of these Syrian extremists, jihadists, refugees in their country. And by taking Syria, they can now send all those Syrian refugees back to Syria, where they will be very happy under the new Al-Qaeda leadership.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. It is crazy times we're living in as well right now. Also, I think it's funny, the people that are claiming that Syria is now free, but Israel is actively conquering, more and more land every single day. I think they took over more than they did in the whole time that, the Hezbollah sort of war was going on. They're on a 60-day ceasefire now, but that whole time, I think in like 12 hours or something, they conquered more land than the whole time they was in Lebanon. So it's crazy, man.
Oh, it's interesting to also look at it from another perspective. What Israel has done over the past 48 hours in Syria has been very interesting, because from what I understand, Israel has done, I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but from what I understand and what I've seen, it seems as though Israel has been actually doing targeted strikes. For the past year plus, Israel has told us that, well, we try to do targeted strikes on Gaza, on Lebanon. We just keep missing, and we keep killing a bunch of civilians. Now, when it comes to Syria, and Syria is an interesting case, because Syria has two of the oldest cities in the world. Aleppo is the second oldest city in the world. Damascus is the oldest city in the world. So there's this kind of unwritten rule. It would be improper completely level cities like Damascus and Aleppo due to the historic heritage that they embody, represent. Now, do I put it past Israel not to do that? I mean, I very well think they could actually do that, and we'll see what happens. For the last 48 hours, I mean, we've seen big bombings, but most of the time when I look on my phone and I see the pictures as to what they're bombing, they are actually bombing military targets in Syria. Because I think that they are a little bit worried about these Turkish-backed forces, and if these Turkish-backed forces in Syria that are not fully controlled by Turkey, and also Al Qaeda, they have the ability to have an air force, MiG 29s, if they have the ability to have a navy, which Syria didn't have much of a navy to begin with, but you get the idea. Military assets that they really have never had access to in their existence. Al Qaeda and ISIS would have for the first time. Israel got worried about that because these guys are crazy. They're fucking crazy. So blow up all that stuff. They did. I just think it's so incredible. It's like they told us they couldn't do this for the past year. That's why they quote unquote accidentally killed, 40 to 150,000 innocent souls, and then now they're doing it with extreme ease in Syria.
I know exactly. That's a very good point, and also they was doing it in Lebanon as well. They was killing civilians there as well. So it's crazy. It's like when they want to be precision, when they want precision, sorry, they can actually do it. And it's funny how we've been calling Israel ISIS for the past however many years, and now they don't seem to attack ISIS yet again. So that's interesting. But I say, what's the situation like in Russia anyway? And like, what's the average citizens' thoughts on like the US, the West, NATO, and do they think like what do they think about potentially pushing us into like a World War III?
I think the average citizen in Russia shares a very common sentiment to what the average American feels about Russia itself. I think that Russians are very curious about America. I'll say this. In Russia and America, there's two common strains of people in each country. America, you have people that are curious about Russia and are like, ooh, this is interesting. Like, what is going on with this Russia country? Or like the Soviet Union, what happened there? Oh, they're like curious and they want to know more. And maybe they're a little bit scared, but they want to know more. And there's the Americans who are like, and this is, I'm sure, the same case with the UK. There's the other Americans who say like, well, screw Russia, terrorist state, whatever. And in Russia, you have the kind of opposite. You have people that are completely pro-American brainwash, which are few and far between right now. I mean, I think I've maybe only met like, I don't know, like 2-3 people like that, just like at a cafe or something, right? And there's really no one who's still pro-America, completely brainwashed, right? But then most people here are just like curious about America. They're like, "Why are you guys doing this? Like, we want peace. Like, what's going on here?" People want to come visit America. They don't want America to hate them and want to bomb them. Even the most like anti-Western people in Russia don't want to visit America. They want peace with America. They want to they want to go and see the world and experience things and share culture with one another. And everyone still loves American culture, traditional American culture. So I think as for the World War III, I mean, Putin dropped an Orishnik missile on Ukraine, and then magically long-range missiles stopped being sent from Ukraine into Russia. So I think, pray to God that hopefully nothing escalates further before Trump comes into office. I don't even know if Trump will bring us peace. I don't really think so. I don't think now is the time. But I think that we are in a better situation now than we were 2 weeks ago or whatever, when it seemed like we were about to head straight into nuclear war.
Yeah, I agree. What's your like thoughts on Trump? Do you think he will step in and cut any sort of funding to Ukraine? Because I know his son, was it Donald Trump Jr. was talking a lot about he's going to cut the funding. So do you think that will happen?
Depends what Donald Trump we get. Everyone knows there's two Donald Trumps. That's no secret. I do think one of my predictions, I guess his appointment of Tulsi Gabbard was great. He's got Elon Musk on this Doge board. He's got Vivek Ramaswamy on this Doge board, but really they're not going to have any say, I don't think, on matters of foreign policy. Maybe on recommendations. I mean, Ron Paul, I guess, is going to be on the advisor group to this board, and Ron Paul, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, they all agree that we should cut all U.S. foreign aid, like not just to Ukraine, but to like the African countries that were pushing the woke agenda in Latin America, Europe, wherever it is. Cut all U.S. foreign aid. That is a radical proposal. I don't really know what would happen if we did that, but it's exactly what needs to happen. I don't know if Trump will go for it. I'm sure if they do that, then the CIA black budget is going to increase by some of like 1,000x, and they're just going to funnel the money through other means into these countries, nefarious means, or they're going to create more NGOs where they, fund NGOs that then do the funding of U.S. foreign aid by proxy. Anyways, I think one of my predictions before Trump ever got elected, like years before he got elected, was if Trump gets elected, it's very possible that he will go to President Putin and he will say, President Putin, here's my peace deal for you. And it's going to be such an insulting peace deal that President Putin will not consider it. And he'll say, here's what I will accept, take it or leave it. And Trump will go back to America, will be very upset, and maybe we'll actually see an escalation of the Ukraine conflict after this occurs under a Trump presidency. And I don't see anything, I guess, indicative that we'll see an escalation for Trump, but I do see the first half of that prediction manifesting right now, because Trump has taken 3 different peace proposals from his new team. He took a peace proposal from Rick Grinnell, a peace proposal from General Keith Kellogg, who's a complete retard, and then a peace proposal from J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, his peace proposal is about cutting off Russia from China. Well, that's not going to happen. I presume it is, because that's what he's always said. As for Rick Grinnell, I don't really know what his peace proposal is. General Kellogg's peace proposal is insane. It allows for NATO membership for Ukraine in 20 years, continued funding for Ukraine now. Russia has to essentially get out of the Donbass. Like, it's insane. And Konstantin Malafiev, he's a big businessman and I guess like a friend of Putin here in Russia, said if they try to send General Keith Kellogg into Russia to negotiate based on these terms, he's going to get laughed right back out to America. Alexander Dugin, he's called the brains behind President Putin. He's a Russian philosopher and professor. He said that now is not the time for peace. Peace only benefits Ukraine and the U.S. right now. It doesn't benefit Russia. Russia's moving with lightning speed. They're having the biggest victories and advances on the battlefield that they've had since the start of the conflict. So, I don't know. Peace, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad. I say your video is frozen. I'm not sure if it's just my end or something. If you wanna, I can still hear you, but your video is frozen. Are you there still?
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
My phone is dead. Fuck.
Oh, his phone died.
And I can't see you.
Is your phone dead?
Typing in the chat.
Okay.
I guess I can go to the Twitter and see if we're still live.
Yeah, we're still live. One sec. I think Jackson's just lagged out. Give us 2 minutes.
Okay, I see that I'm still like, maybe we should cancel.
Hello?
Yo.
1 second, I'm just oh, I can see you again. I can see you again. Wait. Sorry. Was that me or you? I'm not sure.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I could still hear you,
I don't
but
know.
you was frozen. So you're back now though. So it's good. But yeah, sorry about that. I'll say yeah, but I see the peace deal as well. I think you was talking about and I think Zelenskyy like rejected it anyway. I'm pretty sure he was like offered it and rejected it. I'm not. Don't quote me on it though. But the one where you said the NATO funding in 20 years. The NATO membership.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, it's like What does he have to say in anything? He has no say in anything. Why does this guy who we've essentially okay, how much money has the West sent to Ukraine to Zelensky personally? Like hundreds of billions of dollars. There's no way that any one man's life is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, which means by extension that we have bought Zelensky's life and his soul like billions of times over, probably. So I just don't really understand. It's like what is going on here? Why does he think he has any say in this conflict in the peace terms? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was you that posted. They was like surveillance on Zelensky's vehicles. Like, if they wanted him gone, they could have easily got rid of him a long time ago. So they've got to thank Russia really for his life still being here today.
Yeah, and it's such a he's such a pompous individual. It's like he knows that. He knows that full and well. He knows that Russia, at any point since February 24th of 2022, would have dropped one of those originics right on his palace. He knows that. Russia hasn't done that for a whole host of reasons. But think that he has to understand that, and now he's going out on X. I saw him go out on X say, this is what I wanted to bring up. And he said on X, he's like, God fled to Moscow. Where will Putin flee when we win? Like, bro, are you serious? Where will Putin? Putin's going to be sitting in your palace by the time this is all over. You're going to be the one having to flee if you are lucky enough to have the opportunity to flee. And that's the truth.
Yeah, it's crazy as well, and most people in the UK, they're all brainwashed that Russia's just some big terrorist organisation. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of research to see what's been going on. It's like when they say everything didn't start on October 7th in Palestine. I mean, it didn't start in February 2022 in Russia, as you know. You've been covering it for many years. Have you ever played when you're a kid? That even the old Call of Duty games, they make the Russians like the enemy. Like it's all like the propaganda that they've been pushing us for years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that has been the official, state policy of the United Kingdom for years and years and years. I mean, even going back to the Soviet Union, tried to get the UK, France to sign a non-aggression pact against the Germans before the Germans did any invasions. And the UK, France, they all refuse. All the European nations refuse. And the UK was taking private meetings with the German leadership. They were cutting the Soviets out of the I guess espionage talks or whatever talks. They were diplomatic talks. They were cutting the Soviets out. And there was a long-running theory that Stalin and Stalin's his foreign secretary Molotov had, that after the fall of Germany, the UK and the US were going to try and essentially take over the Wehrmacht and position it against the Soviet Union as a proxy of the West, because the UK and the US banksters funded the rise of that German leader who led everything in World War II in Germany. And Stalin had a lot of fears about this, and it was founded in reality. So I guess I'm not surprised that the British are so propagandized, because it's nothing new. I mean, this is generations old hatred to Russia.
Yeah, and it's all for like no apparent reason as well. Russia. That's what I always say to people, that they always try and make out like the Putin's some crazy man and all this, but he's really got a lot of patience. As you've been in Russia for a while. The other parties that are running in Russia, and if it was any of these other guys, I'm sure there would have been a big war by now. Ukraine would have been definitely wiped out a long time ago, and I think Putin's got a lot of patience.
Yeah, I mean, some of the parties are more, I guess, some of the parties are more liberal oriented. Putin is kind of like a centrist. Some of them, like the KPRF and their coalition, they have a broad coalition of parties, which is the Communist Party of the Russian Federation. They are very, very, very anti-Western. And so the interesting thing in Russia now, though, is that communists, Putinists, and I guess the here they just call it white and red. Like the Russian imperialists. I don't mean imperial in the sense of like imperialism. I mean like the Russian Empire is referred to as the white guys because they were the white army in the Russian Revolution, and then the Reds are the communists. The whites, the Reds, and the Putinists all get along right now, and it's because of the common patriotism and hatred of this all-out war, cultural, military, economic, the West is waging upon Russia. So it's actually kind of a beautiful thing. Heard rumors that in the Donbass, there were divisions, there was, factions, and there was, animosity amongst these factions of white and red and all these sorts of things. I heard rumors of that, but it was when I was in America I heard these rumors. So I was like, maybe not. I come to Russia, I go to Donbass, I meet everyone, and they're like, no, we're all Russians right now. There's no, as a communist, it sounds a little bit blasphemous to say, but they say there's no communists, there's no imperialists, there's no Putinists right now. There's only Russians, and that really is the truth when you actually see it with your own eyes, and you're in the middle of it all. I mean, that is the God honest truth.
Yeah, completely agree. I completely agree. I'll say, speaking of peace, do you think there's any way we can see peace sometime soon in Gaza?
No, no. I think peace in Gaza is only going to come at, well, again, it's kind of like your question about Ukraine. It depends on what sort of Donald Trump we get. If it's the Donald Trump that was campaigning in Michigan, then maybe. Donald Trump is, from everyone that I've spoken to that is close with him, which is a certain type of people. I don't speak to too many people that are in the neocon orbit of the Trump world. But when I've spoken, everyone just says, yeah, Donald Trump is principally, anti-war. Not because he's a pacifist or not because he is an anti-imperialist, but simply because he doesn't like dying, he doesn't like death, and he thinks it's bad for business. I think that there's a very strong argument to be made that all of the foreign conflicts, foreign interventions, wars, coups, regime change operations, the United States has engaged in over the entirety of Donald Trump's adult lifetime have been costly to the United States and the West. It's been costly in terms of manpower. It's been costly in terms of our actual assets that we have sent abroad, and we've really gotten nothing for it. If you think about it, okay, what is this for? It's about getting resources. It's about getting gas. I mean, America has plenty of oil, plenty of gas, plenty of resources. We could easily, as Donald Trump is now suggesting, and something I've suggested for years, we could easily take Canada as a 51st state, or make it turn the provinces into a number of states, and we'd have all the resources that we could ever need. So it can't be about that. What is it about? It's about maintaining the dollar hegemony. It's about continuing the endless flow of dollars in foreign central banks and foreign economies. And that is why the U.S. national debt is however many, 300 some trillion dollars. That's ridiculous amount of money. It's like 36 trillion, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, that's why we have this national debt issue. It's because the power of the United States is rooted in acting like the world's, bank, where we continue to act like a creditor state using the U.S. dollar, and then we end up having all of this debt that we have to pay back to nations who actually are using us and using the dollar. And I think Donald Trump is going to have a bit of a fork in the road type situation, because as much as he hates war, as much as he hates, the byproduct of war, which is death and, bad business. Also wants to fight a war to protect the health and well-being of the US dollar as the global reserve currency. You can't have both. You can't have a world where there is not outsized military pressure to continue using the dollar and expect the dollar to still remain as the global reserve currency. So I don't know how he's going to deal with that. He thinks tariffs are the solution. Tariffs are not the solution. It's just going to exacerbate de-dollarization and all these issues. It might cause some, blockades and issues for some nations that are pursuing de-dollarization. Their oligarchical Western-oriented elite might say, okay, we don't like these tariffs, so let's stop de-dollarization. But by and large, Russia's not going to stop and China's not going to stop. And even if that's what we have, a bipolar world, China's still winning in the bipolar world. They're going to continue winning. The tariffs aren't going to stop anything. So Donald Trump's got a lot of issues on his hands that he didn't create, and I don't know how he's going to solve it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, I think America and the UK, they share a lot of the same problems. You know, there's like a homeless crisis in both of our countries. There's I think in America there's like loads of gun crime, and over here there's like loads of knife crime. But you look at cities like Russia and China and even like Dubai. You know, Dubai don't even pay tax money, but their cities are amazing. You know, so it shows you where all of our tax money's really going to. You know, it's funding all these genocides and proxy wars, and I don't know, man. It's really crazy to me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, North Korea doesn't, they don't have taxes, and people laugh when you talk about North Korea. If you actually see North Korea with your own two eyes, or you actually look at people who've been to North Korea, their vlogs of it, North Korea is industrializing. North Korea has a very strong military, like 1.4 million people. North Korea is building very nice new apartments, thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and they're just giving them free to their people. And again, the United States and the United Kingdom didn't do all this funny business all across the world, and we actually nationalized our major industries: oil, gas, raw minerals, precious metals. If we nationalize these things, and also, the information-based economy, big tech, all these things. If we nationalize these things, the Americans wouldn't have to pay for taxes anymore. You'd actually have institutions that operate in a way that will actually prioritize the public good. It's what China has. It's not that crazy. I mean, it's been done before. It'll be done again. And I hope it'll be done by the United States and the Western states soon. But you can see how much antagonism there is towards this idea. Because Călin Georgescu, the presidential candidate in Romania who was expected to win the second round of elections last Sunday, was actually campaigning on this model. He was painted as a far right-wing, nationalist in Romania, because he said that we should have peace with Russia and Romanian boys shouldn't be sent to their death in Ukraine, and Romania should not be a part of any further EU funding. He's painted as a right-wing nationalist. He serves God. He's a Christian, okay? If you look at his economic agenda, he put it forward on his website. He is very clear. He stands for a distributist economic model that prioritizes the nationalization of major industries in Romania. And that is a very left-wing economic model. And it would do a whole lot of good for Romania. And it's a good, roadmap for and template for other Western states to follow. Yes, you can be culturally traditional while also having a sovereign economic model that doesn't allow for the raping and pillaging of your economy by transnational corporations. And because of that, very popular agenda, because of that, he was essentially couped before he even reached office. So the answer to our problems is there, but there's a lot of powerful people in the way.
Yeah, and I saw something about, wasn't it the same prosecutors that are trying to get that politician you're just speaking about, was the same ones that attacked the Tate brothers, and so that's kind of convenient as well, you know.
It's a very corrupt country, very corrupt country. It's the exact same prosecutor that um, is doing these cases against the Tate brothers, is the same one going after Georgesco now. And I forget his name off the top of my head, but he is a public figure. Like he came out and I think he spoke in one of the Vice videos about the Tates or something. But it's a corrupt country. People are willing to do very dirty work for very low sums of money. And I had the idea of going to Romania this week and interviewing all these people, uh, and maybe trying to push for an interview with Mr. Georgescu. I don't know if it would happen. I would just inquire about it, I guess. But apparently, people say I violated some Romanian law because I encouraged the military to overthrow the government, which I fully reject the allegation. Um, Fully reject the allegation. That's not at all what I was saying. But apparently, I might be in legal trouble if I were to travel to Romania. So I don't think, I want to. If you're in legal trouble in a lot of countries, okay, you're in legal trouble. You have a just trial, fair trial, whatever. In Romania, there's no such thing as a fair trial. You just get locked up. We saw it with the Tates. They're trying to do it to Georgescu now, and they're just criminals and thieves that are running that country. So I don't want to test my luck.
Yeah, exactly. I see. As you were saying it, loads of people in the chat started spamming that you was gonna get arrested, so it made me laugh. But yeah, fuck Romania, I guess. Then we don't go there. But I'll say, what was your I wanted to talk about the ACP. So what's your goals? Because I've seen them doing a lot of work, like me, who's in a different country. Because a lot of people as well, they have this warped view of communism. As soon as you say the word communism, they sort of attack you. So do you want to like go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean the ACP is the American Communist Party. I'm on the executive board, and basically everything you guys see me tweet about, saving America, freeing America, foreign influence, rebuilding our country in a sovereign manner. Everything I've discussed on this stream, it's like that's what we stand for. Um, we have a website, we have a Twitter account. ACP Maine is our Twitter account. You can read all about what we stand for on our website. We've got a bunch of chapters across the United States and Canada. We don't believe in the sovereignty of Canada as a country, I guess. We want to incorporate Canada as a part of the United States. And anyways, but yeah, as for communism, I mean, communism has a very negative, I guess, aura, because a lot of times people hear CIA propaganda about communism, or they hear about the latter years of the Soviet era. They hear about all the horrors leading up to perestroika in the 90s, the 80s, and it's like, well, yeah, that was a bad time, but the leaders who were leading the Soviet Union at the time were not really communists. No, no communist will tell you that Khrushchev was like was a legitimate communist. It's like saying Trotsky was a legitimate communist. Not that bad, but it's there. But anyways, what we stand for as communists is basically taking back what's right beneath our own feet, our own feet. Why should Bill Gates get to buy up all the land in America? Why should BlackRock get to buy up all of the homes and apartment buildings in America? Why should all these why should Wall Street own all the oil, all the raw minerals, all the precious metals in America? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that a tiny group of crooks and thieves and anti-human Satanists should own everything in our country. And in fact, the exact opposite is true. If we nationalize these things, if we make them, public commodities, we will actually be able to free ourselves. If we focus on integrating into the multipolar world as a sovereign nation, we will be able to create peace in the world. if we do things like this. Ultimately, the goal of our party, America, and focus on the revitalization of our country, rapidly, I guess, rapidly um, expanding upon and mobilizing the forces of production in America. And I guess that's a pretty layman's way of putting it. I think it speaks for itself. Everyone knows what I stand for. Um, America should be for Americans. America shouldn't be for millions of criminal immigrants. America shouldn't be for George Soros and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg to manipulate the masses. We should carry out the actual tradition of our founding fathers, have a free America that actually is focused on the prosperity of the people. And the last thing I'll say is I don't want America to be China. I don't want America to be the Soviet Union. I mean, America is America, and we have to adhere to the I guess like the historic context of our country, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, these sorts of things. And I'm proud to do that. I think that they are fascinating and incredibly historically progressive documents that still stand true to this day. But also, the current order in America is that everything that was established in these founding documents, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the vision of our founding fathers, has been subverted by a nefarious deep state, which is not, it doesn't answer to the needs of the American people. It answers to the needs of finance capital, both foreign and domestic. And China, on the other hand, well, again, I don't want to be China. China, on the other hand, as whereas the America has a deep state, China has like deep civilization. It has, this people state. It actually does answer to the people's needs, and it does prioritize the people's needs with every decision that it makes. And there's some interesting things coming out of the Trump administration that I think reflects this sentiment. I don't know how committed they're going to be towards these ideas, but nonetheless, I'm hopeful that there will at least be an opportunity for some of these things to rise to the surface in the Trump administration, because with Kamala Harris, we knew we weren't going to get anything. And I think that when it comes to the MAGA movement, Trump's working class MAGA movement, this is the first real politically conscious, class conscious political movement that has been integrated into the foray of American politics for the first time in decades and generations. It's why we, as an American Communist Party, are completely, open to working and talking and speaking and hearing the concerns of the Make America Great Again movement, because we do want to make America great again. That's what communists should want. They should want to actually help their fellow countrymen and rebuild the country and stop these wars and stop the raping and pillaging of our country. And I think a lot of people are curious about what we are doing and what we stand for and what we are building. And that's why there's been such large amounts of, I guess, speculation about our party on social media.
Yeah, no, it's great to see you guys are really doing good things. It's the problem is as well that most of the stuff you're doing is stuff that our presidents and prime ministers should have already been doing this whole time. It's just general, like helping the people as a country should. But I say just probably like the final couple things. I'll say what's your goals sort of for 2025? Have you got anything big lined up? And has the ACP got anything big lined up?
Well, as for ACP, I think that we have to wait and see what comes with the Trump administration, and we've got a lot of friends in high places, which I think is great. But the U.S. Congress, if you can believe it, they just passed some bill, and there was Democrats and Republicans that voted for the bill. I think it was 200 to 60. The vote in the House of Representatives took the vote on the matter with those numbers. It was something like they vilified communism, they banned communism, or something like that. I don't know what it was, they did this bill in Congress that said like we're gonna make communism illegal or something. I don't know, but it's laughable. But honestly, we do have to wait and see what actually happens with Trump. We have to see what Trump does in the Middle East. Don't know. We have to wait and see what Trump does with Ukraine. We don't know what he's going to do. We have to wait and see what Trump does with the problems surrounding de-dollarization. How is he going to approach that? How is Donald Trump going to approach the economic problems that we have in America? How is Donald Trump going to approach the matters related to the curtailing of free speech on social media by big tech? I don't know what's going to happen, but we have our agenda, and we are all very curiously watching and closely watching what Trump is going to be doing, and what our path will be. We have a common agenda and common mission, regardless of whether it's Trump or Kamala or whoever. Our mission is to essentially show the American people that we are the ones who can provide them with security, stability, and a roadmap for the future. And no one else can. Republicans can't, Democrats can't, Trump can't. So we aim to do that regardless of what happens over the next 4 years. As for myself personally, I have my show Legitimate Targets, which I'm doing. And I guess I hope to travel the world. Maybe Georgescu can get in the presidency in Romania and I can go visit him there. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. I'm doing a lot of content, 5 episodes a week. It's actually very, very intense workload. But we're pumping out a lot of really, really good content and important interviews every single week, covering every subject in the multipolar world. And so I hope to continue doing that and bringing some big interviews everyone's way.
Yeah, no, I've seen you do some great interviews as well. Was there any trips to the UK on the cards, or I know you're not really a fan of the UK, so.
Well, I would. I don't know what the laws are in the UK, but I was on that James Whale show, and I said that Putin. I wasn't even serious about it, but I was like, all these people that week I was on the James Whale show on Talk TV, Piers Morgan's channel. I said they were all saying like, oh, UK should send these long-range missiles to Russia and bomb Moscow. They're saying insane stuff. So I went on there. And I was like, Putin should drop an Orishnik on 10 Downing Street. And I just kind of wanted to see their reaction. It wasn't even serious. But I'm like, how is it that you guys can so calmly state that Ukraine needs to bomb Moscow with your weapons that the UK supplied them? You think that's completely fine, completely rational, completely sane, and then I go out and say what I said, and I obviously knew what their reaction was going to be. It was like it was kind of a mental game. It was like a mental test for them. It's yes, my statement is as insane as your statement is, but you don't even realize it. I don't know if I'm barred from the UK, but George Galloway is a good friend, and I hope to come out to the UK. I'll definitely let you know if I do.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was about to say George Galloway is one of the only sane people we have in the UK, but yeah, I'll say that's pretty much all from me anyway, Jackson. I really appreciate you joining us tonight. Hopefully you can come on again one time in the future. But yeah,
of course,
everyone obviously needs to go follow your legit targets as well. They're growing crazy on X. But yeah, man, I appreciate you joining a lot, man.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, anytime.
All right, bro. Have a good day. See ya.
Peace out.
Bye. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you all liked the interview. We'll do